Hello, everyone. Welcome to a presentation about enduring in a post-pandemic era. It is my pleasure to be presenting again for the Isaca Budapest chapter. I am Ramses Gallego. I am International Chief Technology Officer, and I'm representing Microfocus. I'm going to be talking about in the next few minutes about how to endure in this post-pandemic epoch that we are living. You know, we at Microfocus, and I personally really think that we call it digital disruption, we call it digital transformation, but the name of the game in this very specific epoch, that is not just about cybersecurity, which is about protecting and defending. In these very pandemic times that we are living or suffering, should I say, we need to approach resiliency. We need to approach how to endure, how to resist. Actually, that's the definition of resiliency, and as a consequence, cyber resiliency. So while we might see it as digital disruption and doing different things, well, specifically in these very special, exceptional, difficult times, especially in cybersecurity, we need to approach cyber resiliency in the right way. But most importantly, because everybody's working from afar. Everybody's working. I mean, I'm in Barcelona, Spain now. I'm addressing, and again, it's a pleasure, a blessing to be addressing you. But everything is hyper connected this day. Everybody is working, through the cloud, in the cloud, from the cloud. But especially, we need to be sure that we are who we say we are. So the instrumental things on authentication, authorization, identity management, access control, and VPNs, and integrity, I would say, and authenticity are more than ever important as they can be. Actually, as we understand how we see this beautiful chaos, if I can call it like that, these beautiful, ecosystems that we need to understand big data and analytics and storage devices and different mobiles and platforms and systems that we need to understand. So enduring in a post-pandemic era, and I know that I'm addressing a constituency that fully understand governance frameworks, and assurance and auditing, but I have to raise my hand as a Microfocus ambassador and say, we do as well. It is fundamental to endure in these post-pandemic times that we understand what you are seeing on screen. And it's fundamental that we understand what we are seeing on screen. And yes, I am addressing you, the Chief Auditing Officer. I'm addressing you, the legal counsel. I'm addressing you, the risk professional and the risk practitioner. I'm addressing you, but not because I want to be politically correct. Quite on the contrary, I want to be realistic as we and our societies are. But we at Microfocus, and me personally, we understand, and we are a little bit tired of he, the CEO, he, the CTO, he, the infrastructure manager. And this is why we wanted also, to especially, I know that Isaca has, we at Isaca, we have that sort of she leads tech and women in technology. And again, I am not saying it because I want to be politically correct. I am saying it because I believe that at society, it doesn't matter who does it, but it does matter in these very pandemic times, in this post, hopefully, pandemic times. We need to understand that it not just who does something, but what is done, how permissions are given, for how long we are granted accesses that, remember, are from afar, from different houses and homes of everybody, offices around the world. So I am not interested on he, the CEO, he, the CTO. I'm also interested on she, the infrastructure manager, she, the development director, she, the risk practitioner, and the compliance officer. So, and I know I'm saying it for Isaca, with Isaca, through Isaca, but I'm talking to you professionals at large, because we need to understand the languages we speak. And I'm not talking about Hungarian or Spanish or English. No, I'm talking about the taxonomy and the anatomy of a CISO, of a CEO, of a CTO. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but in my career, and the many beautiful times I have had the pleasure of addressing Isaca professionals, well, the language we speak and the business speaks is the one that is appearing on screen. Isn't it about control and effectiveness and efficiency and availability and integrity and cost control and accountability and responsibility and automation and orchestration? Because I mean, 3 slides ago, you saw that sort of that chaotic world that we live in, right? Different platforms, ecosystem. Well, guess what? The language we have to speak in enduring in these post-pandemic times is exactly this one. Well, talking about pandemic times, let me give you what we at Microfocus are very honored to understand. And in this very post-pandemic epoch, hopefully, that we are seeing and we are living, well, let me tell you something. On the left-hand side of this slide, well, this is security. And I know, and I say with massive respect, that we have had, professionals at large protecting and defending, making sure that protection, identification of threats, and that is security, or that is cybersecurity. But it inspires us big time at Microfocus that we understand resiliency as well. One, on the left-hand side, you are seeing security. On the right-hand side of the slide, this is resiliency. When we have seen, in the news, our elder people, going out from the hospital, hopefully, and again, we say with respect for those of you who have suffered, the loss of family, of your loved ones, but this is resiliency, because the resiliency, the dictionary says, is anticipating, it's withstanding, it's recovering, and it's evolving to the next normal, evolving to the best or the optimal state. And I see exactly the same. When I was preparing this presentation with my colleagues in marketing. Again, thank you for helping me, and my engineers and pre-sales people and the professionals at large within my company and the universe around me is, okay, security is about protecting, defending, identifying. But resiliency is the capacity to endure. This is why we title this Enduring in a Post-Pandemic Epoch. All right? And in order to endure, I understand that you guys at Isaca and we at Microfocus, we understand strategy and tactics very well. We understand the different scenarios and territories and games we need to play. And for that, these days, I'm using a metaphor of chess. The metaphor of chess, which is protecting the king, right? I mean, you need to play your strategy and your tactics with the different assets you are given, but we need to play the game of marketing says always, business is king, citizen is king, customer is king. Am I right? Okay. But in order to do that, in order to win that game, you need a very super important piece of the game, which is the queen that you are seeing on your left. The queen, to my eyes, and hopefully to yours, is privacy, assurance, governance, identification, authentication, auditing, all those holy disciplines that you know, guys, very well at Isaca. Those disciplines are queen. And in order to endure in a post-pandemic time, you need to play strategy and tactics, yes, but you need to play with the right assets. Remember that the queen can move as fast, or faster than any other piece in the game. Except the horse movement, the queen can do everything. Diagonals, horizontal movements, vertical movements, as fast or as faster, also as fast or faster than any other piece of the board game. So if citizen is king, if customer is king, if business that we need to protect is king, in order to endure in this post-pandemic time, it's time that we ask the right questions to the right people at the right time, or at least have the right answers for the right people at the right time. And for that, the queen is instrumental. Actually, we at Microfocus, we understand not just one board game, but the 3 board games that you are seeing on your screen that are pervasively connected. Pervasively connected. Those 3 scenarios are the following, and any Any organization on the planet has the three scenarios: identities, data, and applications. Let me repeat: identities, data, and applications. So in my terminology, in the taxonomy actually for businesses out there, identities means users, employees, citizens, people, consumers, using, governing data. And data is that small, but different sets of data combined, different sets of data in aggregated fashion, they become information. Am I right? So different sets of data becomes information. So identities, connecting and using data. That third scenario is stored, it lives in applications that go back and forth the cloud, that they live on-prem and they go, they are in the cloud, to the cloud, through the cloud. So as a consequence, in order to endure in these post-pandemic times, you need to fortify the applications. You need to harden the applications. So these three scenarios, we see them as instrumental for, first, to comprehend, to embrace a business approach, but secondly, and most important, in order to endure, in order to resist in these post-pandemic times. Well, last but not least, I have mentioned applications going back and forth, the cloud. So the cloud is instrumental to be understood. And I know that you guys at Isaca, you have what is known as the cloud series, and the different documents that in some of them I have co-authored in my career, so it's a blessing to have contributed to the Isaca community. But to understand the cloud, the questions that board of directors need to ask, cloud and public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, community clouds. So in the journey to cloud, again, to the cloud, from the cloud, in the cloud, and through the cloud, the instrumental questions remain. But in order to endure in this post-pandemic time, it's also super important to understand the idea of data lakes. Data lakes appear now on your screen with I guess, a highly visual, image, because it's funny how we don't have databases, we don't have, reports, we have lakes of information, we have oceans of information, and specifically in the world of incident management, in the world of threat intelligence, you need to correlate different sets of information. This is a must in these very post or pandemic times, or post, hopefully, pandemic times. You know what? Because cyber criminals will use and are using this highly pervasively connected universe that we are in. I'm connecting from Barcelona. My colleagues in marketing are connecting from your region. You guys in Budapest and across Hungary. Meaning, wow. I mean, cyber criminals are criminals, but they are not stupid. So they will use that information. So it is instrumental to our eyes to have full control and visibility of the different channels, in and out channels of a company. So it is fundamental to have a proper, robust, and solid SIEM, Security Information Event Management, Certainly we provide that, as well as other providers. But the idea of data lakes, the idea of analytics is absolutely critical for success. I have had the pleasure to present for Isaca Budapest before, like many times. And I think that I have used this visual every single time I have been on stage with you, for you, through you guys. But I still keep it on my presentations because I think that this visual is absolutely instrumental. Is critical to understand that the next big thing will happen through a keyboard, through a system, from an environment, from a system, from a computer. So this is what we need to understand. But also to understand, how technology expands. I mentioned at the beginning that is not just digital disruption or digital transformation. We call it radical innovation. And you know what? This was an Olympic year. Well, this is an Olympic year. 2020, Tokyo Games, Olympic Games in Tokyo. And unfortunately, they didn't happen. They didn't happen because the world was not ready, as with many other things. Of course, we suffered, right? And hopefully they will happen in 2021. They say in June 2021, hopefully, yes, the Olympic year. But in this Olympic year, I wanted you to mention, and both from a safety, health perspective, but also from a technological perspective and technical perspective, that any technology aspires to be faster, taller, stronger. Well, that's the Olympic spirit, isn't it? So the aspiration of any technology out there, and of course, as a Microfocus Chief Technology Officer, I'm raising my hand saying, yes, that's exactly on how we are building stronger, faster, taller, more capable solutions, right? And we do that with the idea of innovation, of doing different things differently, embracing the opportunity of the art of deception, in the art of deceiving cyber criminals, the art of not just anticipating, which is great, withstanding, that is great, recovering, and then evolving to the next stage. And it's fundamental in order to endure in this post-pandemic time. This is what the session is about, to fully understand identity and access management. That line of business is very important. But in also to understand application security, how to harden applications, and how to be sure that they are that the code is bug free, that there are no vulnerabilities within the applications, as they move back and forth, that they are using the right open source libraries, that they are updated, that they are bug free. So innovation is the name of the game. But talking about the name of the game, and that's a sort of a joke, who knows? I mean, instead of Game of Thrones, we might be talking on innovation on Game of Drones, especially now that everybody is at home. I don't know for how long, but this is my sort of to make you smile. Hopefully I made it. But it's not just Game of Drones, but Game of Drones, and that's certainly the idea of innovation. But our idea of innovation and your idea of innovation should be the following: embrace machine learning. Embrace machine learning. There are 4 types of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised machine learning, reinforcement learning, and deep learning. You need to use, and unfortunately I don't have the time in order to open that door, but I would be honored to be back to with Isaca Budapest and to your beautiful region to talk about machine learning in depth and how the world is using it. Not just supervised machine learning, but unsupervised machine learning, the way we use it. I love it when engineers explain me about that, because with unsupervised machine learning, you don't learn by example, you learn by observation. And when you go into the other 2 types of machine learning, reinforcement learning or deep learning, I mean, the algorithm is capable of righting a wrong. The algorithm is of understanding false positives and then realign if appropriately. We use unsupervised machine learning, and we are working on reinforcement learning, but I think that the discipline is second to none. Actually, I love it that much that I have a full-fledged session on machine learning. But when I used to talk about machine learning, there was that idea of the ethics of machine learning and the ethics of collecting information. Actually, I used this visual that you are seeing now on your screen, and they look like they are fighting, like an arm wrestling, that they are like a something. Well, let me tell you something. When it comes to data science, when it comes to the crunching numbers, when it comes to data feed, when it comes to super correlation, you don't fight machine learning, you don't fight the algorithm because you lose. Honestly, I mean, we humans, when it comes to data science and tirelessly 24/7 data science and doing a statistical analysis with massive amounts of information, that big, huge, you don't fight machine learning because you lose. Actually, our proposition is you don't fight machine learning, you actually collaborate with machine learning. You shake hands with machine learning because they can help. I always say that the algorithm is never wrong. The algorithm does what the algorithm has been created to do. The algorithm is never wrong. Another thing we can talk about it. if it's biased, or we can have a conversation on that. But the algorithm, 24/7, without having a bad day, without requesting a higher salary, a salary increase, without having had an argument with the boss, or with the wife, or with the husband, or with the kids, the algorithm is always right. So when it comes to threat detection, when it comes to using the right intelligence, the algorithm is always right. But also let me not forget the human factor of all that. So I'm going to use the Latin word from Plautus, which is homo homini lupus est, or the shorter version, homo homini lupus, which is man is a wolf to man, or a woman is a wolf to woman, if you will, or let's keep it to human is a wolf to human. It's us. It's in our hands to fight cyber criminal, because if they are using a machine learning to attack, we can use machine learning to defend. So my proposal, as I am building my finish, although I would love to keep talking to you guys, it's basically we need a flexible architecture that needs to be integrated with everything you do, to be respectful with the past, but absolutely in a unified and simplified way. Actually, we at Microfocus, we love to talk about not just platform, but an ecosystem, because an ecosystem allows you to be systematic and systemic. And in order to endure in these difficult post-pandemic times, you need to be systematic. You need to have automation, orchestration with the help of machine learning, but it also has to be systemic. It has to belong to an overarching umbrella in an open, flexible, unified, and simplified way. Let me get you an example. I'm pretty sure that everybody in the room and attending this session, which I massively appreciate, knows about the Maitrey attack framework. If you do, fantastic, great. If you do not, okay, you will know something in the next 2 to 3 minutes. You know that thing that acronym on the right hand side of the slide, it's about, listen, adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. Let me repeat. The Maitrey attack framework is about adversarial, the enemy, ladies and gentlemen, the rival, the cyber criminal, tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. It's a free public domain that it can be used, and let me tell you how it is architectured. This is our own application within our ArcSight tool, our monitoring tool. I love it when someone has dedicating time into how cyber criminals try to exfiltrate data, how they try to gain access, how they try to gain, privilege access, how they try to do lateral movements, adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge built real time into different tools. This is how I believe we will endure, resist in these post-pandemic times. And actually, I cannot teach you guys anything on assurance. It's a discipline that it's built in the DNA of Isaca: auditing, assurance, governance, privacy. But in order to endure in these post-pandemic times, we need to get assurance on who is accessing to what in the right time, how access was granted. We need to be sure, not because I'm on camera, but we need to be sure that Ramses is who he says he is. Are you following me? Meaning, it's not just the world of the 3 A's: authentication, authorization, and administration. Authentication, authorization, and administration. Actually, on your screens, there's a word with an A, providing assurance. Actually, what happened with authenticity, also starting with an A, right? It is fundamental that in these very difficult times, everybody connecting from afar, password management, identity management, access control, e-directory, all those sort of things are super important, right? Sorry. Yeah. So let's move, because we wanted to let you know about the following. Let me move. Hopefully appearing on your screen pretty soon. The idea of providing assurance, and then managing risk, managing cost, and then providing services and ensuring the right level of investment. Now the slides are going in unsynchronized way, but every company on the planet is about managing cost, managing risk, and synchronizing. Actually, let me finish with the following. I mentioned a Latin sentence, some minutes ago. I'm going to finish with the following: is si vis pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. Don't get me wrong. I'm a pacifist. I don't like any. I do not endorse any sort of violence. I'm against that. But the world out there, cyber criminals are trying to get access to to different research and development about vaccine for COVID-19, and they are trying to hack those devices that we are using at home because they are not so hardened. In the very same computer that my boy plays Fortnite, access. Well, not me, of course. I work at Microfocus. What I'm saying in a generic way is that the world has gone weak, unfortunately. So in order to endure, we need. If you want peace, safety, you need to prepare for war. We are inviting you on a journey. We are inviting you to do the following. Actually, we are inviting you to connect the dots, to play that beautiful game, to connect the dots. I'm talking about connecting the game. We have something for you today. We have a metaphor of a metro map. What you are seeing on screen, it's our metaphor of a journey with governance and cyber resiliency at the center of it. I mean, if you want to excel, if you want to shine in these post-pandemic times, you need to get these metro lines, different lines in plural. If you get the pink line, for instance, line S, I mean, in order to endure the post-pandemic times, you need to understand event management and identity management and application security and encryption and tokenization, and you need to understand GDPR and data privacy, right? But if you get two, for instance, you need to make the stops on data masking and application retirement and archiving and policy controls, and both in structured and unstructured data. Wow. Structured data, the data and unstructured data. So we have prepared this governance metro map, but I need to finish soon. But this is super cool in order to embrace and to have the right conversations at the right time. Everything I have been telling you for the past 20 minutes, and I'm going to finish in the next 3, it's about trust. Everything I have been telling you is about the discipline of trust that is subjective in nature. Trust, ladies and gentlemen, is not given, it's earned. It's earned the way you speak, the way you act. I can talk about reputation if you want, and all of that. You are trustable because others say so. At the end of the day, everything I have been telling you this morning or this afternoon, depending when you are seeing this, it's about people. It's about the trust that people give on systems. We at Microfocus, we have found the gene of the next generation cyber professional. The gene, yes, I'm talking about the DNA in order to endure in this post-pandemic time, the gene of the next gen. And the gene of the next generation, appearing now on your screen, is the opportunity of, with education, with technology, with events like this one from Isaca, Budapest, is to become even more intelligent. Actually, the opportunity of being seen as a genius. Actually, the opportunity of being generous. I'm talking about the gene for the next generation. Sharing information, because cyber criminals do that. The opportunity of being authentic, of being genuine, but most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity of being an agent of change, embracing change and embracing, these super important times that we are living. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I am inviting you, we are inviting you to become a legend, because legends are remembered, legends leave a legacy. That's what we are suggesting through technology, with technology, through technology. My last 5 slides, because I am addressing you from Barcelona, beautiful Barcelona, Spain. We have this genius, the architect, Antoni Gaudí. The guy was obsessed with security. And instead of regular chimneys, instead of regular rounded or square chimneys, the guys saw an army. This is one of the landmarks in Barcelona. They are at the roof, of course, at the on top of a house. But instead of regular chimneys and smoke goes through them, he saw the opportunity of building an army. And I'm sure that you are seeing the helmets and you are seeing the function of protection. Talking about protection, the guy was obsessed with security as well, apart from architecture. And he was obsessed. We at Barcelona, we have St. George and the Dragon. So this is one of the magnets that you get from my city. If you have ever been in Barcelona, if not, that's a tragedy. But if yes, this is the typical magnet you get for your fridge. Okay, to the refrigerator. That is the one gift when you get a storage. Okay, so the guy built a dragon on top of another very respectful and visible building in Barcelona. You know, the dragon on top of this house that you are seeing now on your screen, the dragon, yes, the dragon instills fear. It's dangerous, but it also provides protection, as in Game of Thrones. You know, the dragons, they protect the house. So there's a dragon on top of that. Actually, the guy was obsessed with going back to the origin, going back to the roots. And instead of building a building made out of stone, actually this is the name of the building, La Pedrera, you know, the stone building, he built the waves of the Mediterranean Sea. And you see the balconies in there? They are like leaves and going back to nature. The guy was obsessed with nature. The guy was so obsessed with nature that in our cathedral, if we ever finished it sometime in the future, by 2050, they say, that is La Sagrada Familia. You see at the bottom of the cathedral, supporting resiliency, supporting a cathedral of knowledge, instead of regular columns, you see the tendons of an arm. You see the tendons that are supporting the cathedral. And in the other part of the cathedral, instead of regular columns, you see bones. Yeah, the bones that support our body, because that supports a cathedral of knowledge and security. He left us with a very interesting quote appearing soon on your screen. If you want to be original, if you want to be cool in cybersecurity, if you want to endure in these pandemic times, well, originality consists in returning to the origin. And in the origin of this presentation, I told you about change, cyber resiliency. I told you about disruption, radical innovation. This is how we are going to endure in these post-pandemic times. Originality consists in returning. And in the origin, I said, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to present for you in fast mode, but we only have these very few minutes. But with my thank you, I invite you, we at Microfocus, we are inviting you to endure in this post-pandemic era. This is Ramses Gallego, International Chief Technology Officer. It's been a pleasure to present for you, my friends at the Isaca Budapest chapter. Thank you very much.